Our group decided to investigate the effects child health has on GDP per employee. We began by studying the relationship between child mortality and GDP per employee and found some interesting trends. This graph shows the relationship between child mortality and population growth. We see that as child mortality decreases, population growth will not increase more than approximately 2 to 3% in most countries. Looking at India, there is a clear decrease in child mortality, yet the annual population growth fails to reach higher than 3%. It appears that the decreased mortality is countering the population growth. The theory of decreased mortality leading to a decrease in population is opposed by the Global Health Organization. However, we believe that there are other variables at hand, like healthcare advancements, contributing to the population growth. Therefore, we stand by our findings. We believe this phenomena occurs because parents choose to have fewer children when they aren't losing any early into their lives. For example, if a family loses their only child before he or she turns 5, they may try to have a few children within the next couple years to ensure the family lives on. This assertion is further supported by the data on average family size on TechCarta, which follows 68 countries over 12 years. In virtually every country, including the United States, the listed average family size decreases every year. This also aligns with the decreasing mortality rate across the board and could explain why some of the countries with the greatest decreases in mortality over those years also have the greatest decreases in family size. For instance, Nigeria's child mortality rate decreases by 65.9 children per 1,000, while its average family size decreases by 1.39 children. With healthier children that survive infancy and childhood, there's less of a need for women to become pregnant as seen by our Gapminder graph. This lack of pregnancy and therefore maternity leave allows women to work more due to increased availability. Although women are not the only ones who have to tend to sick children. Working men can focus on being more productive at the workplace too. This increase in women in the workforce and productivity among all workers allows the GDP per employee to grow more, as shown by the Gapminder graph, which shows the positive relationship between the two variables. Another reason why child mortality decreases GDP per employee is because if somebody needs to tend to a sick child at home, they will exert a lot of work that is not included into a country's GDP with the child rather than using the energy being productive at work. With healthier kids, parents can work more and hence buy more food, healthcare, and other services to ensure an increased quality of life and education for their family. Now we will examine the results of increased children's health. A healthy, well-nourished child will focus better at school, have more energy to put towards schoolwork, and miss fewer days of school due to illness. This nourishment allows children to stay in school longer and receive a more complete education than those who suffer from malnourishment. Here we see the relationship between underweight, malnourished children and the primary school completion rate. As the number of underweight children in countries decrease, the primary school completion rate tends to increase. This trend is best represented by the data from 2004. This lack of education provoked by malnourishment is detrimental to human capital and technological progress, 2 of the 4 determinants of productivity. The lack of education can be seen in statistics from the World Bank, for example. The children who are deficient in essential micronutrients, especially iodine, have 13 IQ points fewer than those who have sufficient levels of micronutrients. Beyond the IQ points for the World Bank also provides research that shows stunted children, a result of malnutrition, earn 20% less than non-stunted children and are 33% more likely to work in poverty and unskilled jobs. This lack of productivity can be seen in the Gapminder graph relating underweight children and GDP per employee. Countries with more underweight children tend to have less productive workers. The World Food Program researched the effects of malnutrition on total GDP in Uganda. Their findings were eye-opening. It was discovered that Uganda lost $899 million in US dollars, which is 5% of their GDP. The World Food Program credited this loss to, quote, workers getting sick more often and being less productive because they lack nutrition as children. After reflecting on the previously mentioned Gapminder graph, we believe there is a correlation between child mortality and GDP per employee. Parents are allowed to work more because they have less kids to tend to, as well as fewer sick children. This freedom allows parents to work and rest more and ultimately be more productive at work. This increase in work and productivity results in increased income, which then can be spent on food, health benefits, and education, all while children are in school learning. These healthy children continue to grow mentally and physically, and in turn are presented with more opportunities to excel in the workforce than less healthy children. This cycle repeats itself, and productivity continues to increase. This is called the virtuous cycle. However, countries with an unhealthy population tend to be poor and stay poor due to their inability to purchase better healthcare and nutrition. This is often referred to as the vicious cycle. We believe that foreign investment from countries in the virtuous cycle to countries in the vicious cycle will aid in the battle against malnutrition in poor countries. This world is unified. The rich giving back to the poor won't only make poorer countries richer, but it will make the world a better place.